Today, we are going to be doing a Painted by Esther inspired blush. I've always been inspired by her work because I find that it's just so creative. The blush placement is just so flawless, and the fact that she uses several different shades of blushes to make this cohesive, beautiful work of art. I'm so inspired. So I know when it comes to a Makeup by Esther look, you have to have your best of the best pigment blushes. So I went into my stash of makeup and pulled out my top tier, my favorites, my most recommended. The first thing I'm starting off with is a very hydrating, blurring primer. This is going to blur all the pores or even bumps that I may have near the T-bone area of my face. You're going to make sure you apply it where you have a lot of big pores or you get really oily in certain places. I just pat that in to lock in the moisture. This is going to make your makeup stay on even longer. Now for today's foundation, I'm using the Estee Lauder foundation. This is one of my favorites, especially when I'm going to do an event or I want my makeup to last longer. The formula of this foundation is just so smoothing, so blurring, and hydrating all in the same breath. When I apply my foundation, I always apply it to my jawline first, just to make sure it's the right shade match to my neck and my chest. And then from there, I progressively move up and I just keep reapplying in certain areas where I feel like I want a bit more coverage. What I love about this foundation is that it's not heavy. It's very hydrating, it's lightweight, it's blurring, and it leaves your skin very radiant and definitely gives a skin-like finish. And that's why I love this foundation. It's not greasy or super oily or super luminous. Sometimes there's foundations or even skin tints that are just way too shiny. So if you want something that doesn't give over the top coverage and caked on, and that's a good one. Another recommendation would be this NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop concealer. I love this. It's medium to full coverage. It's very buildable, especially if you apply it in layers. You will have a snatched, crease-free under eye, and it's very easy to shade match with this concealer. Comes in so many shades and ranges, so there's something for everyone, and I love that. Especially as a makeup artist, I'm working with so many different skin tones, and I want a product that I can use for many skin tones, and this is the product that I would recommend, that I would use. And the same thing like I did with the foundation, I apply it to my jawline and I build on from there. Next, I go in with my bronzer. This is a cream bronzer by Anastasia Beverly Hills in the shade Terracotta. This is a new one that I got, their newest formula. Very hydrating, very pigmented, and very creamy. I always apply it to the back of my hand. This is going to activate it and this is going to warm it up. So when you apply it to your face, it's going to give you a very precise and defined look. Versus just applying it straight to your face without warming it up. It sometimes comes off a bit too harsh or too pigmented. I'm just going to apply it lightly in certain areas where I want to emphasize and I want to outline. So then when I apply my dry bronzer, then I will know exactly where I want to apply it. And you can always go back in the pan and apply more if you need more definition or you want it to be a bit more warmer or defined in certain areas. You can do that. I always like to start off with the forehead when I'm going to apply more because this just kind of rounds out your face. I don't know, it's something about applying the bronzer on your forehead first that does it. It just gives a whole nother look to your makeup. One thing I know about MAC, they will always come correct when it comes to their products. Their concealer is very creamy, very thick, very hydrating, and it's very professional. It looks like you got your makeup done by a pro makeup artist, and I love MAC down. They have always had the best of the best products. The quality, the formula never changes. It's original, it's amazing, and look at that. Look at the coverage. It blurred out any lines I had. When I go to apply a brightening concealer, I don't want anything that's going to be too bright where it looks fake. I want it to be in the natural points of my face where I would have light shining, and I want it to look like that. But I don't want it to be too strong, too fake. I want a natural, soft glam look almost, just with minimal amount of concealer that's needed. So you guys see how I blended that in and how beautiful that is. Now I'm going to go in with my blushes. I pulled these two color swatches to see which one I want to go with today. And I'm thinking I like the reddish one. I'm pretty sure I'm going to mix them mostly because her looks are a good balance of red and purple. So I'm going in with the Sachu Beauty. I've had this for a while, so sorry if it looks a bit jacked up, but this is a muted pink. You're going to want to go with a pink shade that isn't too bright but isn't too dull, so somewhere in the middle. Then I go in with a red lipstick. If you don't have a red blush, like I don't have one, that is just fine. Use a red lipstick, mix that in together. Once again, warm it up, activate it. You're going to get a muted reddish tone. And then you're going to apply this just to the apples of your cheeks. And you're going to kind of stipple it in that area. And then from there, you can move it around and apply it to any other area under your eye. The goal for this one is to make sure it's super pigmented. So if you need to apply a bit more red like I did, then that's just fine. Just fine tune it to the way you need it to be. But you want to go with a really strong base for this look. I'm just going to blend all of that out. When it comes to this look, you don't want it to look like you have concealer here and then there's a gap and there's blush. You want it to be one cohesive look, one formulated look. So I just take a little bit more of the concealer. Now this one is a shade that's closest to my natural shade because I want a flawless, cohesive, evenly blended under eye. And then you're just going to blend that on top of where you placed your concealer earlier in the video. And then you're going to blend all that out. Now you can start by blending the first dot and then blend it into the second one. Or you can just do them at the same time, whichever you feel works best for you, whatever you feel is easiest. Just make sure you're connecting under your eyes to the temples of your face and blend all of that in until it's nice and even. Then you're going to go in with this beautiful shade of blush. Now, if you have a lipstick that's like this, that's good as well. This is a lip cream from NYX. This is one of their older products, so I don't know if you'll be able to find this in Ulta, but I love this one. It's very creamy. It's very pigmented without being like just too strong, too much. It's very blendable, buildable. I love this, and you guys are going to see just really brings the look together. And what you're going to do is you're going to kind of blend it in like a circular motion, and then from the temples of your face, aka the outer corner of your eye, you're going to then blend it towards the concealer. So you start off with blending it outwards, and then you're going to blend it inwards towards your nose. Then after you successfully blended it in, so it's one cohesive look, then you're going to just take a bit more of that on your hand, and then you're going to apply that to the outer corners of your cheekbone area, just like I am. And there you see, there's way more pigment when you build it, just because, I don't know, that's just how sometimes it works with blush and concealer. When you apply one, you let it dry, and then you apply it again. It just comes out so much better. So I'm taking the Beauty Creations pink powder. This is their loose setting powder. I love this one. What I love is that Makeup by Esther, she applies it in her hand, and then she activates it by just rubbing it all in, just allowing the setting powder to kind of disappear in the palm of your hand. And then once you kind of like activated it of sorts, you're going to apply it directly where you applied the concealer. And you're not going to blend that out. You're just going to apply it there. And the same is going to happen on the other side. And then from there, you're going to continue and apply it towards the temples, right under your eye, towards the temples of your face and near the bottom of your nose. And then you can take the sponge there. It's not damp, it's dry, and blend that out. Then I take Juvia's Place and use the darker tone in the middle of my eye just to have a nice blendable finish of the blush and the concealer. You see how it just builds the like beauty of this blush so flawlessly. Then I take the lighter one and I just apply it directly under my eye again, just to connect the darker shade with the lighter shade. in such a beautiful cohesive look. Then I take the fluffy brush and just brush off any extra, and it's going to give you a blurred, just beautiful finish. I love this, and this is the end of the video, so thank you so much for watching.